the other morning, I had this whisper come to me. And the whisper was, what if everything you touched turned to gold today? And I was like, what? That's the coolest question ever. As most of you know, I love my questions, and questions are powerful. When we ask questions, they start to put things in motion, and actualization begins when we begin to ask questions. And I thought, wow, that was a profound question, and it just dropped on my head like a little feather one morning. And it was such a welcome moment, because the few days before that, Corona was in full gear, and we didn't know what, our future was, and there was a lot of unknowns. And so I was so happy to receive that, as opposed to the mornings I had been waking up with like, and I thought, what if everything I touched turned to gold? And what does that mean? And what is that? Because I instinctively knew that it included money. It included like gold. Look at Krishna. I decided to bring him out for this video. Isn't he cute? But I also knew that the question was somewhat alchemical in nature. That the question was inviting me to awaken, to acknowledge my inner alchemist. Now, to be fair, not being able to do live events, and especially my Live Your Magic, which I had plans for 2 this spring, I have been missing my exploration with magic, and how I do explore it when I'm doing these live trainings around the world. And I realized that it was that part of me asking, the magician in me asking for some attention, asking for some awareness. And so I went a little further into that question. I did some of my morning ritual, which includes intention circles, and if you'd like to know about those, let me know. I can do a video on those, because I do them a little bit differently than you might have heard about them before, and maybe some of you haven't heard about them and you're like, what's that? But it's a whole body way of bringing the energy that you want to have actualized in the world in, and to send the seeds of that out into the universe. So it's a really dynamic process, and I was doing that process, and I was asking questions, and this awareness hit me, and it was this idea to do alchemical experiments. And I was like, well, how do I want to do that? Is this a program? And it was very clear that it was something that I was just supposed to explore in a live way, and just on its own, with just total freedom to explore. So I didn't put it into a program format. I just did 7 lives on my business page on Facebook, and my public figure page. If you haven't been to that page, there's some cool things like that on there. You might want to visit and follow that page. And I was so blown away with what came through on those 7 videos. I did very nearly an hour each one, and people came on and they asked questions, and those questions would turn into experiments, and then people would do the experiment and come on the next day, and we would just play. And it was so powerful and so dynamic. And at the end of those days, I just felt this growing energy and expansion, and like the next day seemed to get more intense, and the next day seemed to get more intense, and money flow started to open where I hadn't been able to flow money, in part because I wasn't sure where to go with what had happened with COVID and all the changes, and different projects being put on hold and things like that. And so all of a sudden energy started flowing, money started flowing, and like things were happening as if by magic. And I was like, it was such an amazing reminder of how much funner it is to add the magic, and how much more powerful it is to add magic to anything and everything we're doing, and to remember that we're not alone, that we're in a sea of consciousness, and we are surrounded by energies, by elementals, and that we have potency and magic within us, that when we call it forward and we add it to whatever we're doing, it exponentializes our experiences, our results, our impact. And I just realized, that so many people are trying to figure out what to do at this time in a linear way. Like some people are, and you've seen these swings, some people are like working harder and putting out more things and putting out more content and just going really, really fast. And some people are frozen and they don't know what to choose and what to do next, and everything in between. And that whisper that I got that day reminded me that I am magic, and now is the time for magic. Now is the time to add magic to anything and everything that we're doing, and just as an experiment, not as an attachment, not as a should, and not as in I'll do magic and then I'll get this result. And I think that's why it came to me in such an open format. It wasn't a program, it wasn't anything to sell, it was just explore alchemy and do it in a public way, and make that a contribution to your community. And I was just blown away at what that gave me and what that brought me. And some of you may have seen some of them, but I don't know if everybody knows there were 7. There's 7. It's like a 7-hour training in alchemy. Much of what came through was downloaded to me. I hadn't heard it anywhere else. I hadn't studied it anywhere else, and it just came through. And so I was so proud of what I had created, and not just from like the standpoint of like how excited I got and how connected I got into me, into my magic and what I'm actually capable of. And that, I don't have to look to see what the future is going to be. I'm creating the future. It brought me back into the driver's seat dynamically. And so I said to my number one COO, Chief Operations Officer, Brandy, I said, Brandy, can you edit these a little bit and let's release them on YouTube as a set? Because one of the things that makes it difficult on my Facebook page is you have to scroll down to find all of them. And so I said, let's put them all in one place, and let's edit some of the time it takes to say hello to everybody at the beginning before I start content, and then maybe some of the fluff at the bottom. So there's just pure content. So seven trainings in alchemy, pure content as a box set being released on YouTube. You're the first to know about it. You're the first to hear about it. Please go over and have fun, imbibe, delight. Each one has a summary, and each one will have cliff notes, because there's a lot of content. If you've ever listened to any of my classes, I run about 3 different threads, 10 different threads at any given time. And so my oracle, Marion, has gone through and extrapolated the specific experiments and each of the main points of what the experiment is, how to do it, and some of the quotes and some of the most important parts of it, so that if you only can watch it for a few minutes, you can look at the cliff notes really fast and get the experiment and play with the experiment, and then you can go back and finish listening to it later. How fun is that? So my gift to you, if magic is a topic that you've wondered about, that you are, that you desire to go deeper with, and that if you would be it, that you could create and actualize anything, this series is for you, and it's free, and it's for you. go play, my friends. I heartily invite you. And the only thing that I would ask in return is if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, that you would subscribe to it, because I'm going to be doing more of these offerings on my YouTube channel, more videos, more training videos and things like that. And I'd love you guys to go take a look, take a gander, see what's there. And I so desire your feedback about what occurs as you go through those videos, as you go through this training. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait to see what magic you create and what gold shows up in your life by choosing to be the alchemist that you truly be. Click there and go. That link that's below, click it. Go play.